Hey there, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and here I am in the car again, headed down to Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland for another new comic book day. Well, there's a lot of great books coming out this week, a lot of great number ones, some great variant covers. I'm going to go down like I normally do. I'll do some filming, definitely pick up a few books, and when I come home, I'm going to bag and board everything, and we'll do a little show and tell. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, I just finished up here at Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland, and I had a great time. I hope you enjoyed some of the footage inside the store and got a good look at all the new comic books that came out this week. I picked up a handful of things that I had not pre-ordered, some pretty good books. I'm going to go home now. I'm going to bag and board everything, and we'll do a show and tell. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
One eternity later.
All right, guys, I just made it home, and I bagged and boarded all the comic books. Had a great time, like I said, at Third Eye. And I got some pretty good books this week. And as you guys know, most of the books that I pick up on New Comic Book Day are actually books that I failed to pre-order 2 to 3 months ago when I was putting in that pre-order with M&M Comics, my subscription service. And I use New Comic Book Day to go down, and most of the time it's to pick up things that I might not have ordered. A lot of times, some of the variants are not even available when that pre-order catalog, the previews, come out. And I don't even know what it's going to look like. I may just know the artist's name, but I don't just jump in depending on the artist all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So I don't necessarily pre-order a lot of things sight unseen. So I go down on New Comic Book Day, and I'm looking for certain variants, and that's why I use Third Eye Comics. They buy so many different variants, as opposed to a lot of the other comic book shops here in the Baltimore area. And not to say that they aren't good, but there are a lot of variants that Third Eye picks up that the other shops just does not. So that's why I end up going there. But let's get right into these books, and I'll show you what I picked up this week. And we'll talk about some of the other great books that came out this week that I did not get because, hey guys, they were on the pre-order list. So let's start with this right here, Web of the Spider-Verse, New Blood. Wasn't on my radar at all, to be quite honest, but I kind of fall into that, well, it's a Spider title, you've got multiverse, you've got more variants, and you never know when one of these variants might stick. I kind of missed out on Spider-Boy. Well, here they are just serving up variants left and right, and probably none of these things will take. But can't go wrong too bad on picking up a #1 with a new Spider-Man title. We'll see how that goes. Did pick up the #1 for Star Wars Jedi Knights, and this is starting, I guess they're going back and they're doing their prequel era books. I don't know if this is going to be considered like one of the first titles in the whole Star Wars canon. That'd be interesting. I haven't followed, other than the movies and some of the TV shows, and even some of the comics Marvel put out when they originally did that back in, I guess, 77. I really didn't get into all the books that came out. I didn't get into some of the TV series. I didn't get into the Dark Horse run on Star Wars. And so there's a lot of canon out there that I might not even be aware of at this point. But I found this kind of interesting. Plus, as a collector, #1s don't hurt. Speaking of #1s, you can't go wrong with a Fantastic Four #1. This is a facsimile, but this cover is a remake by the great Alex Ross, and I can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with an Alex Ross cover. I actually wanted to pick up a few of these. This is something that I probably wouldn't mind to have signed by Alex Ross at some point, but they only had a few copies of this variant, and all of them had a little bit of a tick. This one actually does too, but I'm going to be able to probably get that one out if I ever decide to get it graded. So, still a great cover, and I love how it is a homage to the original Fantastic Four #1, of course, but you've got the word balloons in here. It seems weird these days to see word balloons on the cover. I guess we've kind of gotten used to that at this point. New #1 for Teen Titans Go, and even someone my age enjoyed Teen Titans when it came on TV. Of course, I grew up with George Perez and Marv Wolfman doing the Teen Titans, and then I got to watch the original Teen Titans animated show through the eyes of my daughter. We grew up and she grew up, and we got to watch that. And we didn't get quite into the Teen Titans Go by that point. She had already passed that, but what was cool is you still had some of the, I don't know if it was all, but I know you still had some of the voice actors still doing the voices, and they probably still do at this point. So, again, a #1, and especially a kid's title. I think we've all learned our lessons that kids' titles are great, but years from now, because they were a kid's title, is anybody going to keep these books safe? Well, yes, we are, because we're comic book collectors at this point, so we know to save these #1s and protect them. I had already dropped this title, but I couldn't pass up this beautiful variant cover to Ultimates #10. Inyuk, how am I going to say it? Let me see if I can pronounce it right this time. Inyuk Lee, I hope I pronounced that right. I saw this on the stands. I'm going, oh, I got to get this. I don't even care that I've already dropped this title, but definitely got to get this. What's bad about this is I will have to dig out my original #1s and maybe some of the other variants for the Ultimates. The Dennis Camp is going to be coming to Third Eye Comics coming up pretty soon as part of a massive signing going on at Third Eye Comics with other creators. And I'm definitely going to have to pull the original Ultimates #1s out for him to sign. And there's some other variants in there that I'm going to have to do as well. Even though I guess I'm not going to tell him that I'm not really enjoying the title. I'll just lie and make nice. I'll be good about that. I had already, by this point, I think I've already dropped Wolverine. It was going to be one of my last X-Men titles, and I ended up dropping it after 6, but #7 came out, and look at this beautiful Stephen Platt cover. I mean, you step away from it, I can't even tell what it is, but it is definitely a homage to Wolverine 88 with Deadpool and Wolverine, and there's so much detail. This is one of those you have to get up close and see the detail in this thing. And this right here, I bought this specifically to take with me to get signed. I know Stephen Platt's coming up to one of the conventions that's coming up this year. I cannot remember if it's Fan Expo in Philly or Baltimore or maybe even Heroes Con down in Charlotte this year. I know it's at one of them. I've seen his name on the list. I just don't remember which one. All right, that brings us to the final 3 books, and they all share a common theme. Other than the fact that I'm not currently subscribing to any of these books, and I'm not really reading them. Well, one of them is a little hard because this is the #1. We have Doctor Strange of Asgard. And, of course, you recognize the Rivals logo up here, and I'm not really on top of things, but I know that these Rival covers have been hot. This week they seem to explode. This is probably the tipping point at this point. You're going to see mass producing of these Rivals covers at this point, I would imagine, because you've got Immortal Thor number 29 with Loki there on the cover. And lastly, Moon Knight. Which issue is this? Number 6. And they're all Rivals covers right there. So I picked up a copy of all of those. I didn't buy multiple copies. I don't know if these things will be worth investing in. Honestly, at this point, I think, as I said, I think it's going to be mass produced and you're not going to see the value on these at this point. But guys, that is everything that I picked up that I missed on my pre-order for this particular week. There were a lot of other great things, including multiple Jenny Frison covers. I know that she had a Vampirella cover and a Poison Ivy cover. Both of them were beautiful, but both of them are pre-ordered. Secret Six number 1 is out, and I've heard some negative things about it. And I didn't buy it because I'm a big fan of the Secret Six. That was at one point one of only 2 titles that I carried at DC for years. I had dropped everything from Batman, Superman, Justice League, everything. And the only 2 titles I had for a few years in there were the Secret Six. I think Gail Simone was writing that. And the JSA. And I'm not sure, I don't know if that JSA, I'd have to go back and look, but I believe Jeff Johns was writing that. Those were my 2 favorite titles from DC, and probably 2 of my favorite 2 titles from that whole period throughout years. Even in Marvel, these 2 were 2 of my favorite books. And that's hard for me to say because I'm such a Marvel troll that you would think that there would be no DC book that I would prefer over a Marvel book. But those were 2 of my favorites throughout the years. The other thing, of course, that came out this week was the Herculoids number 1. Lots of great multiple variant covers. I had pre-ordered the ones I already wanted. And, of course, my favorite book that I, honestly, whenever I get my new books in from my monthly order from my subscription service, Usagi Yojimbo by Stan Sakai, whenever it comes in, it is the number 1 book that I stop bagging and boarding and going through all the books. I literally stop. I will read that book before I read or can even continue bagging anything else at that point. Favorite book, but again, it's pre-ordered, but that was one of the number ones, or one of the number new books that came out this week. But guys, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Hope you picked up some great things from your comic book shop, or maybe you pre-order them like I do, or both like I do. So definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you picked up this week and what you do like this week. And if you like this kind of content, definitely hit that like, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any of the episodes that I put out each and every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you for Friday's show. Until then, remember, every comic has a story.